Hi, entry point number 3, which is the Strange Alliance. This is Mark, ANST for Masquerade. So I will be making a one-shot fits all for this one, as you all witness or part of this proxy. First of all, a bit of history in order to understand what happened. This is a bit of history that you likely have come across either in person or in character before, or that you would have learned during the proxy itself. So first of all, in 2015, the Justicar of the time for the gang role, which was Ilyu Wilusit, invited a unusual guest to the convention in Montreal, the Grim Convention of October. The guest was Cardinal de Rose, Cardinal for the Sabbat over Canada. This rather unusual guest was even more unusual because everyone had heard of the Rose, but no one could really find her or him. In fact, Cardinal de Rose, a little bit like the anonymous activist, was mostly like a legend. Everyone could be the Rose, and the Rose was everyone. So any archbishop in the country who was landing a good hit on the Camarilla or an enemy would claim to be the Rose and say, oh, the Rose did it. So the Camarilla was never able to really spy on the Sabbat and discover who the Rose truly was. And each time they killed an archbishop, believing this guy might be the Rose, someone else in the country would say, oh, hey, by the way, you missed me. I am the Rose. But for some reason, the Justicar believed that this invitee was the real one. Or at least he invited the real one and got served with a copycat of the real one. Nevertheless, what they talked about remained very discreet, and he didn't talk about it to anyone, not even his Archon. During the meeting, he protected the guest from all the other persons, saying the Rose was under his personal protection, and this sort of created a political drama with the Myrmidon, but still the Justicar decided to hold his ground. Now you will know why. In about 2 months from the Hamilton event, lots of people were discreetly, and I mean discreetly with a capital D, invited to a proxy. This is the proxy you were invited to. No one who were at the party, or at the proxy, not the party, actually were forced to forget. So you just close the video now, you forget, or to shut up. So if you decided to go along, you shut up. If you decided to forget, well, you know there's a hole in your mind now. As soon as people will start talking about this meeting, you will have to decide if you forget or if you were forced to shut up. Nevertheless, during the Hamilton, this forget and shut up will actually broke. As soon as you will hear people talking about this and you will see the Rose, yep, the Rose is coming, your domination will break and you will remember everything. Okay? So here's what happened. During the proxy, the important leader of the Independent Alliance, which are Don Antonio Giovanni of the Giovanni family, High Priestess Jesuit of the followers of Seth, both representing the Independent Alliance over Canada. Then you also have the princes the Prince of Red Deer, which is Almura, and you also have a bunch of princes, especially from the dark places of the map, that gathered. Also, you, Archons, Prince, that might actually gathered there, were invited as well. Something that got strange, Damaris, the Nosferatu, was not present, nor were most of his trusted individual and trusted Archon, like Mayweather was not there. Archon Cho was not there. Well, Cho was dead, so he's obviously not there, but Thiessen was not there. So any NPC Archon was not there. You might have been invited, though, as an Archon, but we're told again to shut up and especially not report that to Damaris. Obviously, no one from the inner circle were also present, which gave a weird and a special feeling to the meeting because no one from the very high level of the Camarilla were involved. The topic of the meeting was very, very specific. How can we defend ourselves against the incoming antediluvian and Lilith's apostate. So if you don't know it, you learn it. If you don't knew it, you learn it in the proxy that Lilith's been kicking around for about a year, and she is responsible for the death of the inner circle, the Corazon, and later on she will be also responsible for the death of many others. She also has a group of kindred, very powerful kindred, called the apostate, and one of the apostate is in the Hamilton area during the meeting, and he's called Ikopabe. We also know that the antediluvian have woken up, and although the Gangrel Justicar, the former Gangrel Justicar, assured that Enoya, which is the founder of the Gangrel clan, did not go on a rampage and was quite benevolent towards her siblings, her child, she do not believe her siblings, her brothers and sisters, will do the same. It is also rumored that other antediluvian has started to woke up, and as of no, that's later on. So that during the proxy, the Sabbat and the Camarilla drafted a document that was a blood contract that a Colden sorcerer crafted. It was vetted by the other user of thaumaturgy that was present, which are the Assamite sorcerer, and if there was any Tremere in the assembly, he could have attested that it is a bona fide contract. It's a contract in due form that essentially says for a decade from now, we enter in a truce where we need to assist each other against the antediluvian and whoever is trying to destroy the world. It's a little bit more specific, and you will see that contract floating around. You were told, and believe me, this is a short version. My write-up was much more longer, but that so many things changed that I cannot use it anymore. But suffice to say, this was the climax of a big negotiation between the princes, the Camarilla, the Sabbat, the Independent Alliance. But in the end, what the deal is, we don't attack each other. At the very worst, we don't look at each other. But in the end, if something big woke up, if an antediluvian shows up, if Lilith shows up, it is a duty of all sect to actually assemble and go fight that enemy. And anyone who is a signatory of the treaty is therefore protected by the treaty. So anyone who has signed the treaty will be able to travel to the other people's domain and city in order to assist or just to visit if they want. They are protected by the treaty. Everyone who will sign the treaty will have on his hand a symbol. The symbol, if you accept it, will be in the email, and I suggest that you actually paint it on your left hand. Okay? And that symbol is very important. That way you will be recognized as one of the signatory of the treaty. The way the treaty is made, it's sort of having duplicata. It's not by the book blood contract. But the way it is, the person that will be holding a treaty at the game. If you destroy the treaty, it's not destroying the person. It's not destroying the alliance that's been signed before. It's like one of the copy of the blood contract. So the only true blood contract is in two copy. One of the copy is with Elu Walusit, and the other is with the Cardinal de Rose. Both have the original copy, and they are not meant to be at the same place at the same time. So if the Rose is present, Elu Walusit should not be around. This is in order to protect the treaty. But whoever captured the Rose, kill her, or try to get the treaty from her and destroy it, will be able to destroy the truce and work against it. So to summarize, you were invited to a very special negotiation where it was proven that A. Antediluvian exists, B. Lilith exists. Both will likely rampage across the world to destroy every vampires around, if not the world itself. Some antediluvian might be benevolent, not all of them are. And there's no way of telling which one will be just a jerk and who will be a monstrous abomination about to ruin the world. C. If you sign the treaty, you need to take the the logo that you have in the email and paint it on your left hand as one of the signatory of the treaty. This means you are protected from any Sabbat, any independent, any Camarilla who might actually want to destroy you. Anyone who wants to destroy another signatories cannot do it. If there will be arbitration, if there's something, but it should not happen at Cain. It's more like if someone tries to betray the treaty, it can be brought to a council of peers to be judged, and if he's judged as a culprit, it will be destroyed. See the kind of thing. I will try to draft a copy of the treaty, and so you get it as soon as possible, but time is short, and you might actually receive it just before Cain. Finally, at Cain, you can work for the treaty. That means you have, remember, the symbol on your left hand, or you can work against the treaty. You know that the only true treaty that will be on the game, that if destroyed will jeopardize the treaty, is the one that will be on the Cardinal de Rose. All the others are only copies, so that people can walk around and spread the news. So if you decide to work against it and you believe that we don't need the Sabbat and we don't want a truce of 10 years, then it's your goal to destroy this treaty on the Rose. If on the other hand you believe that our only chance of survival is to ally ourselves with the other, like the Sabbat and the Independent Alliance, even if the Camarilla itself does not agree with that, then you'll have to protect the treaty, protect the Rose, and try to get as many signatories as possible during the game. Anyone that decides to sign the treaty, make them draw on their hand the symbol. It's not something that you actually draw, it's actually something magical that will occur if the person actually signed the treaty. Alright, so there we go. That was the entry point number 3.